Hey everyone, so I'm gonna try to check out Paldogangsan. I'm probably saying it horribly wrong even though I heard the song. I just re-listened to the song, Satoori Rap, this, just before now to try and just remember what I had heard before I checked these out, the dance practice. And then I'm gonna check out Satoori Rap explained by a Korean by DKDKTV. So I didn't want to go too much further without checking these out first, so here we are. I really enjoyed the song, so I'm ready. They're so young. This is also probably going to be a very awkward video because it's my first video I've made in like a week. So whomever cares about BTS on my channel gets the fun time of me being an awkward mess. So lucky you. Man. Their dances are so cool. I love them. It's fun. It's awesome. Sorry I'm not saying much, guys. For dance practices, it's mainly just me enjoying the dance. I don't know anything about dancing, so there's not much for me to comment on other than thinking it looks awesome. So I hope that's okay. Oh, it's always so cool when they do this. That's so cool. It's funny. Oh my god. What? Do they still do choreography like that? Do they still? Nice. I'm really glad I checked out the song again before I looked at this, so it makes a lot more sense the movements they're making. Intense. Man, I can't dance at all, but that just looks fun. Whoa, 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 whoa. RM, look at you. No, frame by frame, please. Oh, they're so cute. Get up. Man. When was this? I can't read. 2013. Look at them. Wow. That's crazy. Look how young they look. Alright, let's move on. I really liked that. The dance was great. I'm really happy I checked out the song again before I looked at the dance practice. Also, someone had mentioned that, I don't know. I don't know if Satoori Rap is any different from that. Someone had mentioned they added vocalists for it, and I was going to check it out, but I wasn't sure if it was too different. Yeah. That's my story. Let's check out Explained by a Korean, BTS Paldogangsan. I can't say it. I'm sorry. A little bit. A lot.
BTS has been breaking records, appearing at the Grammys and all, but
David
one other
Kim.
thing noticeable is the fact that they are promoting Korea and its language more than ever. Now, people are digging into their older songs and finding it hard to fully understand this one particular song called Paldogangsan, also known as the Satoori Rap. A song called Paldogangsan, also known as the Satoori Rap.
Okay. Alright. I don't know if you guys wanted the CC on or not, but it might distract me a little bit because I'm slow like that, so sorry. Okay.
So, to begin with, the title Paldogangsan basically means our land or Korea.
Ooh.
If you chop the word up, the word Paldo comes from the Joseon dynasty when Korea was divided into 8 provinces, which are 함경도, 평안도, 황해도, 경기도, 강원도, 충청도, 전라도, and 경상도. And Gangsan means the beautiful mountains and rivers you can find in Korea. Basically, all of these regions had and still have their distinct culture and dialects. The fun of this song is that BTS members are representing each region they originally come from.
Ilsan, Anyang, Daegu, Gwangju, Busan, Daegu again, Busan. Sorry if I butcher any names.
By singing in dialects so-called Satoori. Already in the intro hook,
dialect.
Jimin first speaks in the Busan dialect. It shows one of the typical expressions of Busan by using the famous word ma, which is a way to call a person. Morakano means what by using the famous word ma, which is a way to call a person. Morakano means what did you just say? So basically, the Busan dialect has some sort of tough feel to it, often associated with manliness.
내 아이가 이거는 완전 내지 이거는.
그만 좀 튕기라 공기 주차 보기도.
가시나야.
Oh my god.
Then J-Hope speaks in the Jeolla or Gwangju dialect. We can hear words such as ranke, which is one of the ending words in the Jeolla dialect.
This is really, really interesting to me, by the way. Thank you for asking me to react to this, because even if it isn't specifically about the song, but learning more about the different dialects is really, really cool. I've always been curious, so thank you.
Many words in the Jeolla dialect end with either ranke, tanke, 불어, and yoing.
말 시키지 말란게요.
이상하다게.
직접 마중을 다 나오시고.
몸 상한 데는 없고.
One characteristic of the Jeolla dialect is to speak a little fast and drag the last syllable while raising its accent.
참말로 무엇을 잘못 먹었는갑다.
서방 알면 똘가상에 복숭을 훑으리다다가 벌집을 쓰셔갖고 대구박이고 나빤대고 참다 쪼사버릴 주둥박이라 허겄네.
Sorry.
나빤대고 참다 쪼사버릴 주둥박이라 허겄네.
That's cool.
Suga speaks in the Daegu dialect, which is similar but slightly different to the Busan dialect, since they're in the same Gyeongsang province. Even Korean people have difficulty distinguishing between the two. but it's known that the location of stress and intonations are slightly different within sentences.
얼마 전에 폰 샀는데 막 갔다.
얼마 전에 폰 샀는데 막 갔다. 내 차에 들려 바로.
Some notable points in Suga's verse are
I didn't.
vocabulary such as 아재, 머시마, and 가시나, which respectively mean old man, boy, and girl. The original standard would be 아저씨, 남자, and 여자. This vocabulary pretty much applies the same to Busan or any other place in the Gyeongsang province. Now J-Hope raps in the Cholla dialect again, which is known to be very friendly and affectionate. It's quite different to the Gyeongsang dialect, which sometimes can sound even hostile. If you just look at J-Hope's verse,
It's really, really cool. And sorry for pausing again. Do they still ever sing in any of their dialects from where they were born in any of their newer songs? Or is it just for this Satoori Rap specifically? I mean, obviously because it's Satoori Rap, but you know what I'm trying to say.
the lyrics itself represent the nature of the dialect. He's basically greeting everyone around and calling everyone to come out and enjoy the party. Also, a very important and essential vocabulary of the Cholla dialect appears here, which is 거시기. 거시기 is an almighty word that can replace any word in the Korean language. Usually it's used
cool.
as the meaning of hey, or you know, like the Gyeongsang dialect's ma. But it can also turn into pronouns like it or that, meaning it can mean any word. So it comes in handy when old people can't remember the word they want to say, or when people want to say an embarrassing word.
우리의 전략 전술적인 거시기는 한마디로 거시기할 때 가장 갑옷을 거시기한다. 알겠지?
거시기 잘 하라고.
뭐라카는 문제 자식 주고. 네 번의 거시기와 먼저 쓰인 거시기는 대략 두 가지 정도로 그 뜻을 압축해 볼 수 있습니다. 뭐시기와 거시기는 마 죽어도 모르겠습니다.
And once again, you can notice the endings
What
of
was that?
거시기는 마 죽어도
Hwang
모르겠습니다.
Sambo.
And once again, you can notice the endings of each word being dragged and toned up. Now we go into the pride of each region, starting with the Gyeongsang province's 신라의 화랑. Shilla was the origin country of Gyeongsang province and
Ooh,
once
pretty.
united the three nations Goguryeo, Baekje, Shilla into a unified Shilla. But eventually in the 10th century it was conquered by the Goryeo dynasty. It had an elite warrior group called the Hwarang, meaning flowering knights. The Hwarangs were a social club of young males that gathered to study art, culture, religion, and martial arts.
Oh,
They also acted and fought according to specific commandments called the Sesok
I still want to check that out with V in it. I wanna
which
check
were
it
like
out.
the following. So in this part, the commandments called the Sesok Oge, which were
Loyalty to the country. Kill only with
like the following.
forethought.
So in this part, V is proud of this elite group and claims that the descendants and the bloodline of them is still running in their veins of Gyeongsang people. Plus, V acted in the Korean drama Hwarang as
I
well.
want to watch this.
Also, if you look at Jungkook's verse, he's overly proud and confident of his Satoori and culture. Note the two usages of aiga in these sentences. Momo aiga is a way you end a sentence by asking, am I right or not? Try telling me that I'm wrong. So it's like this one-directional question, possibly forcing the other person to answer yes or yes.
걔는 내가 좀 더 컸다 아이가.
Now you kind of get a grasp of what Gyeongsang people are like. Very proud, confident, and maybe even handsome. Now it's Cholla time again. Jae-ho can't lose to the Gyeongsang boys, so he brings up the famous dish of the Cholla province, which is bibimbap. Jeonju bibimbap is the most well-known and
Bibimbap.
probably the best bibimbap in Korea. It is one of the most famous, healthy, and pretty dishes that represent Korea to the world.
I've always wondered what that was. I've always heard about it, but I've never
It is
seen
one
it.
of the most famous, healthy,
Very cool.
and pretty dishes that represent
I'm so jealous of the food in other countries. Like, man, I don't know.
Korea to the world.
Look how good that looks. Like, I wish I could go down the street and order some of that, but I cannot. If I go down the street, I could order, like, Pizza Hut and McDonald's.
The competition on which is the best region has become more intense. Suga approaches J-Hope and the other members by saying, "Do you know what Kaga Kaga means?" It may sound like Goo Goo Gaga to other people, but to Gyeongsang people, it actually has the meaning of, is that person that person?
가가 가가.
The first ga is a fast pronunciation of k'a, which means that guy. The second ga means is. The third ga refers to the guy we've talked about before. And the fourth ga is finally a question mark. So basically, Gyeongsang people are making fun of other regions that don't have the complexity. Another fun and classic example would be the way Gyeongsang people pronounce this. Other regions pronounce all of them the same, but people from Busan or Daegu can differentiate them all due to the intonation or stress.
This is a lot of information to take in. And I'm so appreciative of these guys for doing this. This is really cool. It really helps out people like myself.
Like this. 이에 이승, 이에 이승, 이에 이승, 이에 이승. Also, in the next line, Suga and Jimin say, "Who says Gyeongsangdo is rough?" By this line, we can examine the stereotype and Gyeongsang people not approving it. But it's kind of funny and ironic that the way they're saying it and actually doing it seem a little rough. Ultimately, they're reinforcing the stereotype. Next,
I'm really happy that they showed. That's what I was trying to say in the dance practice. I'm really happy he showed it like that.
People not approving it.
Thank
but it's
you.
kind of funny and ironic that the way they're saying it and actually doing it seem a little rough. Ultimately, they're reinforcing the stereotype.
Okay.
Next, the Anabara movement is introduced. This was a movement during the 1997 IMF bailout request situation when Korea's economy had failed and many were driven to the streets or gone broke. Each letter of the Anabara stands for 아끼다, 나누다, 바꾸다, 다시 쓰다, saving, sharing, exchanging, and reusing. The people voluntarily participated and made this movement a success, sharing with neighbors and reducing costs. Although this movement isn't necessarily originated from the Gyeongsang province, its mindset and mission is of what usually Gyeongsang people are like, sharing and caring for each other. Gyeongsang people have this catchphrase like 우리가 남이가, 친구 아이가, which means we are no stranger to each other, or aren't we all friends?
우리가 남이가.
Actually, at the end of the verse, this appears in the Daegu dialect as well. 우리가 어디 남인가. On to the other parts in the verse, you can again find the confident and tough characteristics of Gyeongsang people. 지긴다, 지기네 is another well-used expression for saying something is outstanding or the best.
I really hope my mic isn't strong enough for you guys to pick up me trying to repeat what he's saying on here, because, oh man.
The subtle 아주라마 is actually related to the Busan local baseball team culture.
That's awesome.
When a baseball lands in the audience seat, the crowd shouts 아주라, 아주라 constantly to give the ball to the nearest kid
Oh,
or
that's
baby.
awesome.
In conclusion, we can see that despite being tough or direct on the outside, Gyeongsang people have a warm heart and care
Aw.
for others more than anybody in the inside.
That's really, really sweet. I love this part with J-Hope. His voice. His little ad-lib. Sorry, I didn't read any of that.
In the inside. So J-Hope decides not to back off to the Gyeongsangdo dudes. He starts with the epic words shibang, which is a very popular term equivalent to 거시기 in the Jeolla dialect. Shibang means now in the dictionary. However, it has more of the nuance of, hey, look at me now, or what you saying now?
시방은 한 17만 정도 될걸?
네 시방 나 내력 테스트 하냐?
Plus, sometimes people
I also really appreciate him throwing in examples to help understand how it's used and when it's used. I get that that's the point, but I gotta say something. So
mishear it as the most used curse word in Korean, so it sometimes can be mistaken. Probably that's the reason J-Hope used it as the first word of his verse. Then he goes on with words like humi, 어쩌스까나, which are basically exclamation words that could be maybe perceived as oh my god or OMG. It could be either positive or negative. But in this case, it would be a sarcastic, wow, what should I do with you guys, towards the Gyeongsangdo members. The battle goes on as J-Hope now turns offense. 시부리다 is a strong way of saying talking. It would be closer to babble or chatter. This word exists both in Gyeongsang and Jeolla area, but changes in usage. In the Gyeongsang area, it's used like 뭐라 시부리 쌌노?
뭐라고 시부리 쌌노?
And in the Jeolla area, it's used as J-Hope does. Both words shibang and shiburida kind of sound like the curse word shi, so it sounds very strong in a sense. Plus, J-Hope keeps on going offense by saying things like this. Aguji is also a strong way of saying mouth, usually used to say shut your mouth. While provoking why their mouths are all shut now, he says that he can make all the holes in your body open by eating 흑산도 홍어. Hongo is a type of stingray that's caught near the Jeolla region. This Jeolla specialty is especially famous in an island called 흑산도. The ray is fermented and conditioned in a particular way, and after this process, it emits a very strong odor. And many Koreans, including me, dread going even near it. The odor is so strong that people dare not eat it, but usually people from Jeolla actually enjoy it. So basically, J-Hope is teasing the Gyeongsangdo dudes that they go nuts if they eat hongo. Now in the lyrics, a tricky part appears. Suddenly he starts talking about months and becoming pregnant. Many armies have tried to decipher what this means on the internet, but up to this day, nobody knows what he's talking about.
Man,
so
the layers to this song and like the lyricism, even in 2013 when they were still that young. Now, did somebody say that they wrote this song, like RM and them? Or was this one... If they wrote this song and it takes a 16-minute video to explain it, and I'm sure it only scratches the surface level, I'm sure there's a lot more to it, but for the sake of YouTube, this is incredible. Oh my
is
god.
Just whatever he thought of at that time. This is actually a characteristic of the Jeolla dialect as well. Because of the fast speed and friendliness, Jeolla people tend to include totally irrelevant or very detailed info inside the conversations. Still, he does introduce Paldogangsan, which is a very high mountain located in Gwangju. It's known that if you hike up to the summit, you can see far enough to Jeju Island. Also, there's a special watermelon that grows only on this mountain, and it's famous for its enormous size. J-Hope has linked these two big things to a baby to be born, and says he's a bangtan, one of them, which are meant to be huge and successful.
Imagine that.
Finally, the Satoori battle has come to an end, and at this point it has become meaningless and just bickering between the members. Suga brags that he thinks men from Gyeongsang region are handsome, then J-Hope says that's not a fact, and they go on back and forth bickering. But weirdly enough, there are widespread stereotypes that men from Gyeongsang are handsome in average.
Wow.
Now it's time for President King Namjoon to wrap up everything and end the fight.
King
As a
Namjoon.
Seoul, or technically Ilsan person, he says that the Seoul Korean is the standard, and it becomes the good example of a well-structured language. Also, he does admit that Satooris are attractive, that as a man he wants to use the Gyeongsang dialect, and Jeolla dialect sounds so friendly, but still he points out that there's no gain in fighting with each other. This actually stems from deeper history where Jeolla and Gyeongsang regions had hostility towards each other during the 70s, and even until now. It's called 지역 감정 in Korean. The history is very complicated, but it basically started as politicians and presidents were mostly elected from the Gyeongsang region and started developing only the Gyeongsang cities, leaving out the Jeolla province. Also, the politicians used this hatred towards each other to manipulate votes and etc. Furthermore, if you go deeper, actually in the old Korean days, the two regions were all different nations that had war with each other and small interaction. So actually the subtle and deep-rooted hostility comes from way back. Anyways, RM finishes the fight and says we are one Korea that might have different accents and dialects, but at the end perfectly understand each other, which is the only thing that matters. So BTS has accomplished 2 missions in Paldogangsan. 1, showing the diverse dialects and funny sides of them, and 2, sending a message of peace and unification among the Korean nation, easing 지역감정. Just one more thing, although it's ambiguous, deriving from the title's name, Paldogangsan, BTS might have hidden their message towards reunification of the current war-split North and South Korea, because the 8 provinces include those 2 from North Korea as well. It is true that North Korean people speak differently, but at the end, we can also understand them easily.
Man. Sorry. There's stuff in my way. I'll leave. Where are you? I'll leave that up so you guys can support them on Patreon. They deserve it. This is such a cool video. I'm really, really happy I checked this out. I had so much I wanted to say that I waited until the end of the video to try and say. And now I lost it all. No, I really enjoyed this video. Like, the amount of effort you'd have to put in to figure all of this out, even if you really loved your country. Like me, I like the US and everything, but if someone was to make a song about all the different, you know, ways people speak over here, I wouldn't be able to put it all together and explain it. So this is really cool. Wow. What a history. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, DKDKTV, for making that possible. I don't know how much of that I'm going to be able to remember, but I'm definitely going to reference back to this because the different dialects and areas are really, really interesting. Do you think they'd ever re-release this song? I don't know how many people know about this song, minus, you know, them making this video to help people figure it out, but I don't know. I wonder if they would. Now that they're a lot more famous than they were in 2013, you know? But sorry for the long wait, guys. I'm still gonna check out the next album. Just been having some time constraints, so definitely soon. Thank you for still being here if you are. I hope you enjoyed, because I did, as much as I didn't understand and tried to grasp to understand. I loved it. So I will check more out next time, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.